Hey, what's up guys, my name is Rift and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Genshin Impact and why people love Genshin Impact so much. Let's jump right into it. Genshin Impact, from a game released 7 months ago to winning multiple awards and award nominations to earning over $1 billion of revenue from its mobile player base alone. Why is this game so loved and popular? What is the reason for its success? Today we'll be talking about these questions and discussing Genshin Impact and why it's so impactful. Let's start off with the history of Genshin Impact. The game was released on September 28, 2020 on mobile, PC, and PS4. Developed by MiHoYo, a Chinese video game developer and animation studio founded by 3 students whose love for anime and gaming created one of the most successful games in our recent history. Genshin Impact, from its stunning sceneries to its beautiful soundtrack, has taken the gaming industry by storm. Before we talk about the reasons why people love Genshin, let's quickly talk about the gameplay and the story. So Genshin Impact is an open-world action RPG wherein you're in command of 4 interchangeable characters with unique fighting styles and powerful elements to mix and match to make the best team for your playstyle. With mechanics similar to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and a mixture of Assassin's Creed map exploration, this game takes from different games and makes it unique to its own game. The story, without spoiling too much, is about 2 interworld travelers that was trapped in the world of Tibet and was separated. Now your chosen twin travels around the world in search for their lost twin, along the way exploring and finding new stories throughout the world. So why do people love Genshin Impact? I recently made a poll on Reddit and the votes were unanimous. The top voted reason why people love Genshin Impact was the characters. Why is that? Simple. Because of the anime culture. Anime has become one of the biggest forms of media throughout the years and has influenced millions of people around the world. Because of what's happening around the world, I can safely say that anime has become even bigger as a form of media. Genshin Impact's art style is very anime. I know there are different art styles for anime, but we can't deny that Genshin is very anime. From its characters to special effects and story, everything about this game screams anime. Next is the gameplay and story. I'll put them together as the video will take forever to properly explain gameplay and story in depth. So I briefly touched on these 2 earlier, but I want to focus on a few things. First is the similarities of this game with Breath of the Wild. I know a lot of reviewers and people have said that this is a copy of Breath of the Wild, and we can clearly see that from the grip mechanics to how elements affect the world to cooking and exploration. You get what I mean. But this game has made a lot of these mechanics feel unique in its own sense. I know when I see a blatant rip-off, and I tend to stay away from those games. But when I'm playing Genshin Impact, though it makes me feel like playing Breath of the Wild, in some cases, it also feels different. From the use of different characters, to different uses of elements, to different character combinations, and so on. I can say that though this game is a lot like Breath of the Wild, I can also say that this game has its own unique twist, mainly with its combat mechanics. And to me, that's okay. We can look at every FPS game and most of the core mechanics is the same. The key for an FPS game to stand out is to do something different. And I can say that Genshin has accomplished that, and the game has its own identity, because if it didn't, this game wouldn't be as big as it is now. So the next thing I want to talk about is the story. I really can't say too much about the story, but it feels like a story that I've already seen. It's told in a different way, but it's not something new to me at least. The story so far is good and interesting. The world and music is something that I put under story, as the setting and the music is something that storytellers use to keep you engaged with the story. The world is very interesting. As I said before, exploring is a lot like Breath of the Wild and Assassin's Creed. The visuals in the world is amazing, from the sandy beaches to the beautiful mountaintops to even the creepy areas of the map. There's a lot of beauty to find in this world. As for the music, to me, this has got to be some of the best music in gaming that I've heard in a while. To the beautiful tunes when in certain locations, to how the music picks up during an encounter, and even the sound effects are some of the best. Next, let's talk about the 4th most voted option. There are no games to play. Again, with the world issues we're all going through and the lack of any good new games for us to play, Genshin has filled that void for a lot of us gamers looking for a new game to play. By the way, I made a list of games you can play while waiting for that next game to come out. You can check the top right corner in the video to check that out. So back to it. With the recent slow release and delays of our most anticipated games, something to play while waiting can help us with boredom and loneliness. And Genshin Impact has a lot of things you can do to sink hours of your time in. from mini games to mini challenges to exploration, story, and so much more. Genshin Impact is a good game to spend hours into if you're into that open world RPG genre. The next thing that I want to talk about is the community. I was genuinely surprised how low the votes were for the community. I don't really know what it is, but the community was the least voted option. I personally haven't spent too much time in the community to have a clear insight to why this is. So I'm gonna need your help on this one. Why do you think that the community was the least voted option? What are your opinions on this? Tell me down below in the comment section. Also, just a quick reminder, if you like the video, don't forget to press that like button. It'll help me boost my confidence to make more videos like this. Also, consider subscribing. We're close to that 20 sub mark. It'd be really awesome to hit that. And if you like game reviews, game discussions, and gameplay videos and much more, this is the right place for you. The next thing that I want to talk about is the gacha mechanics. I want to talk about this last as I want a big portion of my discussion focused on the gacha mechanics. Even though it wasn't the most voted, I feel like this is something I want to talk about a lot. The gacha mechanics, however you look at it, is straight up gambling. You're essentially putting in premium in-game currency that you can either buy or get small amounts of for free into a slot machine in a game of chance. Meaning you can spend all that money and time and still not get that character or weapon you want. But when you do get that character or weapon you want from these virtual slot machines, the feeling of satisfaction alone can be very addicting. A lot of other games does this, and there are people out there spending thousands of their money into these virtual slot machines. But you can say it's an option. You don't have to pay anything to play. I too used to think like this, but seeing how companies integrate these gambling mechanics or time savers and loot boxes across all different games, it's a dangerous thing to get people addicted to these mechanics. And it's even a bigger problem if we don't address the issue. Sure, you can say that you don't have to put in money, but a game like Genshin Impact isn't going to pass $1 billion in a short amount of time without the gacha mechanics in place. How many reports have we seen where kids take their parents' credit cards and spend thousands of dollars for that one skin or that one character? It's scary to think that these are the type of games a lot of our younger audience is exposed to. It's not only about the younger audience, it's also about the older ones, where some would put in thousands of dollars of their hard-earned cash into a game they might stop playing in 1 year or more. I know it's not my place to tell you how to spend your money, but to me, bringing awareness to these free-to-play games with predatory gambling mechanics should be something we keep our eyes on. I know that other companies, seeing the massive success of Genshin Impact, will try and heavily push their own gacha mechanics with their own twist. To me, it's okay to have these mechanics in games, but there should always be an option to grind for that one character or item you want for free. For example, in Genshin Impact, if you could collect character shards during certain in-game events, and once you collect a certain number of those shards, you can have the option to get that item or character you want for free. To me, this would be better for everyone and for kids to learn that they don't have to pay for everything to get what they want. They can work hard, put in the hours to get their goals. I can go on and on about gacha mechanics and how I don't like them, but I don't want this video to be too long. So to conclude, Genshin Impact has become one of the most profitable games in the past year. For a free-to-play game to pass $1 billion worth of revenue in less than 7 months is crazy. But in my opinion, this game's popularity won't last long, as a gameplay loop is not meant to be like a looter shooter where there are endless amounts of loot to grind for, or a massive multiplayer online RPG where there's just endless amounts of content and expansions. I believe that after the story for the game is done, a lot of its player base will be gone as well, and when new games start coming out, a lot more will leave for that new game. I think Genshin Impact is a game not meant to be a replayable game, meaning you start from a fresh account. Sure, there will be people that do this, but most of us will likely not do this. This game is a really good game that brings in mechanics from other games but also has its own identity. From the characters to the world and the music, this game is a good game to play if you're into that anime open world action RPG. But its gacha mechanics is something that we all should keep our eyes on. So there you go, guys. Tell me down below what are your thoughts about Genshin Impact and why people love it so much. And also don't forget to subscribe, help us reach that 20 sub goal, like the video if you do, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.